welcome. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many hours is this? How many freaking hours is that? That's 7 freaking hours. From 6 to 12. That's, unless I'm counting wrong, maybe it's 6 hours. I think it's 7 hours. That's a long ass time. It is tiring. But surprisingly good. I do believe certain things didn't feel right though. But I'm not going to tell you that this show was bad. I have now seen, understand this, I have done a review of WrestleVerse United. I've done a review of Supercard of Honor. And now I'm doing WrestleMania Night 1. This out of the 3 so far is the best one. But the longest out of the 3. So it takes points away from that. Also, there was things here that I'm going like, wait, there's something missing. Let's get to the first part. We got the normal stuff. We got the American Beautiful. We got some music. We got a little excitement. Bad Bunny was there. We get all of that. But taking away from that, which is normal for WrestleMania or any major play, any pay-per-view is always going to have that kind of stuff in it. Some people like it, some people don't. Nothing wrong with it. But here's a big question. Was the entire card from the first to the end great? First one. The U.S. title, John Cena versus Austin Fury. We knew and we heard that they were going to open. We heard it was going to happen. And we got Make-A-Wish coming out right after Austin Fury came out. So we can set up for John Cena coming out because he's the one that made the most wishes. Knowing John has done the most wishes of any person, no matter who it is, in the history of Make-A-Wish. Taking nothing from him. And he put a lot of attention into that. He always shows the most affection to those people. Boys, girls, it don't matter. He shows them the most amount of affection. Now, did he show that to the fans during this match? No. I'm going to tell you this. I know people are going to say that John did great. I'm going to be honest here. The way it felt to me personally, there was something missing. Doesn't mean he gave a bad match. He did not. He gave a fine match for not being in the ring for quite a while. He only goes maybe once a year now. But here's the thing. It felt like there was something missing. That element, that... You know when the old adage, when someone gets punched in the face, the lights are on but nobody's home? That's what I got from John Cena. Body was there, but it's like his heart was not. It was like something was missing from John through parts of that match. It does not mean it was a bad match. It doesn't mean he didn't have his timing down. It didn't mean he didn't play to the crowd and make them excited. And I'm sure many people are going to say, dude, you're only doing this because John didn't win. No. I knew John wasn't going to win. Because John's own schedule makes that impossible. Look, John Cena does work for regular movies, for advertisement, and I'm sure he also does something for television, and he probably will do something for television eventually. He's a busy man. And I'm telling you, he does not have a very heavy schedule when it comes to WWE. He does maybe one match a year. And maybe he might do a few appearances, but John's not staying in WWE long. It's very rare for him to stay more than a week or two after or build up into it. It's not in the cards. But every other time he's come back, you could feel the lights were on. But in this situation, the lights were on, someone's home. Usually you get that from John. You can feel the enthusiasm. You could see it. But this time around, I didn't. I didn't see that he was fully into it. I didn't see that his heart was in it completely. Yes, he made sure he put on one hell of a good performance for someone who's not in the ring more often. But there was something missing. and trying to save face for John, giving the damn nut shot to him, which was fine. I expected Austin to cheat. There's no problem with that. But in between him coming out and getting the nut shot and finally getting beat, after John inadvertently messed with the ref, in other words, he knocked the ref out when he was trying to do the attitude adjustment onto Austin, I could feel that John was not 100% there. He just wasn't. That's just me. It was not a bad match, but it didn't feel like he put over Austin completely. For me personally, he did not put over Austin completely because he was not completely there. He just wasn't. And I'm sure Alex is going to say that it was fine, and JD and do I believe JD will notice this? Or will Jesse notice? I don't think they'll care to notice, or they may not notice it. It may be just me. But I'm just telling you, there was something missing. But it takes nothing for the match. He still did exactly what he needed to do. Now let's move on. Next match was the Fatal 4-Way, which was like an exhibition match, which has no leading into who wins the final match of the night, which was the Tag Championships. They didn't say it was a Fatal 4-Way for number one contendership. They just said this is going a long way to trying to convince people that they needed to they needed to become possible contenders. Nothing. Viking Raiders versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus a Ricochet and a Braun Strowman. Let me give it to you like this. Who was the one I felt that did the best? Street Profits. Who was the one that I liked the most? Alpha Academy. I'm being honest here. I liked how Chad Gable managed to grab a Braun Strowman and do a deadlift suplex. Braun was right under him. He grabbed him and threw him back. I don't even know if I got the shot. It's in my face. I'm putting it there. But I'm telling you, Chad and Otis, I liked them. And I want to see them get somewhere in the tag division. But did I believe they were going to win? No. I believed it was either going to be the Viking Raiders or the Street Profits. And it was the Street Profits who now won. But does that mean that they're going to get anywhere? I don't know. In fact, I'm wondering what happened to Hit Row. I haven't checked out SmackDown for a couple of weeks because I've been busy doing all the shows. So I haven't had a chance to see if they've done anything. Are they even still on the roster? I don't know. I just know they're not there. And this is what we got. Street Profits won. And we got Angelo Dawkins getting it over on Ricochet. Now that's something you don't see every day. I thought it was going to be Montez Ford, but it was actually Angelo Dawkins that got it, which I'm kind of glad because Angelo's a good wrestler. I'm just saying. Next, the match I was really interested in watching, Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. I was interested in seeing how Logan was going to work. Look, take away if you don't like Logan because of all the controversy, because of his game, or what he did in the forest in Japan, or anything else, especially what his own younger brother has done. It don't matter. When you look at Logan, he literally has proven that he can go in the ring, that he has the charisma. Mike's skills need a little more work, but that's mostly due to the fact he's not there often. If he was working every week, he would improve easily. But as it stands, this is what you get. And this match was very good. Look, you know what he did? He did the HBK zipline. He actually somehow pitched, let's do the HBK zipline. I can't remember which WrestleMania he did that. Was that WrestleMania, 4 or 5? I can't remember which one he did. You guys can tell me below. I don't remember which WrestleMania he did that on. But he did the zip line for WrestleMania. And Logan did the same ass thing. They pulled him up in the air and he zipped. I didn't expect it. Nice. It goes with his persona being a powerhouse when it comes to multimedia. There's just no way to hide it. Now, was the match good? As I said, it was actually quite good. You could tell Logan has practice. And then I felt when it came to the soda pop guy, the Fuse, the guy who was in that suit, I'm going like, why is he sitting on the floor? He's got to be a part of this. It's freaking KSI. I think I got them both in my face. He's in my face. KSI comes out, who in himself is a powerhouse when it comes to multimedia and YouTube. And he basically gets a splat. In other words, you get a frog splash from Logan Paul when he's trying to get Seth onto the table for the commentators. But instead of being Seth, it's KSI, who's laid out and he doesn't move for the rest of the entire match, which is fine. In the end, Logan loses, which is fine. Everybody wanted him to lose, and they read the room. If this was Triple H, he read the room. He knew that they could not let Logan win, and they let Seth win. No problem. I'm perfectly fine with that, and it was well done. Now, I was very surprised about it. The 6-woman tag. I'm going to be honest here. I was not interested in seeing Damage Control versus Lita, Trish, or Becky Lynch. And I'm not going to tell you that I got my interest perked looking at this shot right here. It's in my face. I believe I got it. Look at Trish Stratus's titties. Damn it, that woman is, in her late 40s? And that meat looked good. And the one thing I wondered, because she was wearing such a low top, was anything going to pop out? Because that is a concern. I'm not saying it because I wanted to see some titty. When wrestlers wear very low tops like she does, one of the major issues can be that unless they find a way to secure their breasts tightly, their breasts will pop out. Like what happened with Charlotte Flair in one match. I believe she was up against Becky. Her nipple popped out of her top. And that happens. Bayley, the same thing. Asuka, it happened to her too. Things like that can happen to a woman when they have not just big breasts, but they have a low top that can literally pop out. And for her credit, she wore the right type of clothing that nothing showed at all. She's very smart. Was the match good? Honestly, I didn't want to see the match because Damage Control really doesn't feel important. They don't. The one I like there the most is Io Shirai. I know I could say Sky, but I like saying Shirai because it sounds better. I just don't feel anything. I just don't. Doesn't mean they did a bad match. They didn't. The person that looked the best was Dakota Kai, Io Shirai. Of course you can say, well, Lita looked great, and did Trish look? They got experience enough still that they can go in the ring. Both still look fine. But this is about making sure the future is working. Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, they need to reach somewhere. And obviously, they did. They're more important right now than any of the others. Becky is established. Bayley is established. Trish, Lita, those are the ones that don't need a rub. Io and Dakota did. I believe Io did much better than Dakota. But that's just me. In the end, the faces win. But what does it really give? It gives them a moment. But it doesn't give them a moment that's going to be able to springboard them beyond WrestleMania. Because that's what people don't understand. The most important time is not WrestleMania. It's the day after. Well, 2 days after WrestleMania. Like Raw or SmackDown. In this situation, what's coming next? It's going to be more important than the moment itself. Because what are you going to do with them next? I'm just saying. The second match I was very interested in. Dominic versus Rey. Now, I did see part of the Hall of Fame when it dealt with Ray. And for me personally, I liked it. It was important to know where Ray came from, and knowing that his wife Angie, literally when he went to, went to Tijuana to go and wrestle at AAA, when it was just starting up, he was making no money. He was living, basically he ran out of money, went from a hotel to a gym. He ran out of money. He contacted Angie. He said, I'm ready to come home. I'm not happy. I don't have my family. I don't have you. She said, follow your dreams. And he says, I'm ready to quit because I got no money on top of that. And she says, you know what? Don't worry about it. She stopped going to school because she was going to do something medical. And she literally went to work and started paying money for him to follow his dream. The boy was crying his eyes out on that stage. Well, in the ring. And to me personally, that meant a lot. I may not understand the Spanish he was talking because I don't understand Spanish. But I can understand what it meant to him. The emotion of knowing that the woman he loved, that he met 2 years before, what was it? Was it 2 or 3 years before, who he finally married, was that devoted to him and was willing to go the extra mile. And this match truly emphasized that. We got Ray coming out in Lowrider with Snoop Dogg to honor Eddie, which was great. Then we got, and boy, he finally grew into his own. I am finally happy in the position that Dominic is in. When he was here, I was not feeling it. I didn't feel anything from Dom. Nothing. He needed to go to NXT as I thought. But because now Triple H was running everything, he was able to book him properly. And Dom's ring work has never been the issue. It was his character development that was a problem. I just couldn't feel anything until he went through the lockup bit. And then instead of talking about jail all the time, he focused from going from the jail bit to saying, my father wasn't there. He's a piece of shit. I want him to face me and treat me like I'm his equal. Nail him in the face, doing everything he can to goad his father into wrestling him. And the end, what did we get for his entrance? He came in a corrections van with police, locked up. And I believe I got a shot of him coming out with his mask, with his father's mask. Well, at least one of the masks. And you could hear how Cole was angry about it. You can see how when it came to Corey trying to do everything he can to make it fair. Great. I was behind it 100%. And then what made it best was adding his mother and his sister, where he threw, I think it was water in his sister's face. Or I don't think it was liquor. I think it was water. And I don't know if I got a shot of it next to his mother smacking him in the face. If I do, they've already flashed in front of you. That was done well. I loved how this was acted out. I was not fond of Judgment Day coming out, though. That wasn't necessary. But then Delgado El Fantasma came out when it came to Escobar, when it came to, did they need El Toro with Wild? No, but they got them, they did it anyway. And they're probably going to keep doing it after this, going into Raw. But I can tell you 100%, this was done well and Ray won. Does this hurt Dom? No, because Dom's character is now established. That he sucks. We hate him. And he's using the persona that he started, that was rocky, that's now functioning. I got no problem with that. Next. The match that only one thing mattered. One. Rhea Ripley winning. I didn't care how good the match was with Charlotte. This is what people are not going to understand. Charlotte has buried people. She buried more than her share of people. She already buried Ripley 3 years ago. She buried easy Bianca. She buried easy Naomi. She buried easily. Who else did she bury? Not Bayley, because she was already established. Not Sasha. She was already established, but they never went that far with Sasha because all the time her reigns were always short. But when you look at how Charlotte has been booked, they were willing to sacrifice anyone to get her ahead. And yes, sometimes she did job. But in most cases, it was to develop her more than was meant to develop the other person. Here, Rhea Ripley has easily developed to the point where if they did not let her win, not only would people riot, it would show that Vince was booking. Flat out, no lie. No way can hide that. And it was not the fact if the match was great or not. Charlotte doesn't put people over very well. And if you didn't notice, when the match was all over, how Charlotte was laughing and she was going like this. Trying to play up like I'm finally giving her a moment. I'm going to break character. I'm going to finally give her moment. Sorry. I saw I saw Broken Skull. I know what happened with Becky was a flat out lie. So she really probably didn't want the job, but she did it because she had no choice but to do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. That's the way I feel. I'm not taking anything away from her. She's a good wrestler, but she can never be her dad. You can give her 20 title reigns. She will never be better than her father. Never. Not because he's a man, but because he had this incredible gift to be able to put someone else over than himself. And when he put someone else over more than himself, he made himself look better. You look at Charlotte, she always put herself first, then tried to put the person over second. And that is why, for as long as she wrestles, she will never be like her father. She will never be the best of all time, no matter how much you want to say. She's got 20 title reigns. And I did look at biography. They showed Yokozuna. And guess who else they did in biography? Freaking Charlotte Flair. Why are you giving Charlotte Flair biography instead of Rick? Why are you giving Charlotte Flair, who's been in the business maybe nearly 10 years, a biography, making her feel like she's the most important woman that's ever existed, when Trish Stratus, Lita, when it came to Victoria, when it came to Mickie James, when it came to Jazz, when it came to freaking Chyna, she was better than all of them? Is that the most important thing biography in WWE want to present? Charlotte Flair? They can suck my black dick. Sorry for the bad talk. I'm sorry. But I'm saying it. I don't hate Charlotte. She's probably a nice person in real life. But when you put her in wrestling, she's using her name. And she's going to do everything she can to be the number one. And that's where it's been booked. Sorry, no. I am glad that Rhea Ripley won. She needed to win. And seeing Charlotte say, I don't buy it. I don't care. Don't believe? Fine. You think I'm wrong? That's cool. You got your right. And I won't take that from you. But for me personally, no. No. Let's move on to Pat McAfee showing up and wanting a match with The Miz because Snoop Dogg said to Miz, because they opened the show together as a host, he asked him, what about you and your match, Miz? What about your WrestleMania moment? He said, I am presenting. I am the host of WrestleMania, which means that Snoop Dogg is not, which he is. I'm not doing that. Pat comes out saying simply, I'm in my WrestleMania shirt. I want a match with you. And Miz says simply, you guys want me to wrestle him? I am not wrestling. I am the host and I don't make matches. Snoop Dogg does. They have a short match. Pat destroys The Miz and makes him look bad. And a football player from the 49ers, since I don't watch football, I don't know who that is. It's been many years since I watched football, so I don't recognize him. But everyone says that he was very important. Corey Graves can't stand him. And seeing that was fine. Getting punted in the face by McAfee was alright. And everyone loves Pat. There's nothing wrong with it. Question is, when is Pat coming back to WWE? I'm wondering when. I want to see Pat with Michael Cole because he's way more active when Pat's there. Literally. He's way more active with Pat than he is with Corey. I'm just saying. And let's see what else. I'm sure I'm missing something else. I don't know what. I'm missing something, I'm sure. So I'm sorry if I am. Oh, I almost forgot. Logan Paul just turned 28. Oh my gosh. Makes me feel old. I'm 52 and he's 28. That sucks. Why? Alright. Final match of the night. Usos versus Kevin and Sammy. This was the final match I was waiting for. The most emotional match. All emotion. That's what we got from this match. Out of any of the matches that we got that had any level of emotion, this is it. This had the most amount of emotion. You got Jay still showing anger towards Sammy. And while the match was going on, it developed more and more and more. And Jay literally, at one point, because it was dragged out so long, and Jay went to Sammy because they were up against each other, and he grabbed him by his beard and saying, "Why are you still doing it? Why don't you quit? Why didn't you quit?" And he's going like this. He's getting angrier and angrier. Not that he's going to change his mind, which I kind of wish he would. Because at this point, I kind of wanted a little bit of something from Jay. Because it's obvious they're going to make them job. We knew Jay and Jimmy were going to job. There's no way they're not going to job. It's just not going to. It wasn't going to happen. They had the job. But I kind of wish it would be a little more dissension where Jay would act more frustrated because he can see what he loved in Sammy. Because he wouldn't quit on him. He's seeing it right there. And even though he's showing frustration and beating him down, I kind of wish there were moments that he would just kind of pause and Jimmy had to snap him out of it saying, "What are you doing?" He did it kind of like that a couple of times, but I kind of wanted more. He needed just a little bit more to show that, yes, he did do what he needed to do. But I kind of wish that because it's going to change the story after tomorrow. Because whether Roman wins or not is irrelevant. What does the bloodline look after this? That's the question. And with the story of the match, it could have helped what's going to be done for long term. For me personally, that's what I think would be best for the bloodline. That the one person who first started in the bloodline as his first member, not Roman, but Jay, that for a little bit, you could see a little bit of what Jay was before he decided to go and stay with the bloodline. That he could see easily that the reason why he said, "I love you" as family. Because Sammy wouldn't quit. And I'm kind of hoping they'll elaborate on that when it comes to SmackDown and you'll see it. I'm just saying. But the match was very good. There was so many false endings that there are going to be people that are not going to be fond of it. Let's be clear. There's going to be a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people going to say there were way too many false endings. False finishes, as they say, as they will. But it was necessary. We're talking about the Usos who've had the titles for over 600 days. They were almost teetering on 650. So it is obvious. Let me give it to you like this as closing. Was this a good WrestleMania? Yes. Was it better than Wrestleverse United? Yes. No doubt. When it came to Wrestleverse United, and I'm breaking this down by the 3 shows. We got Wrestleverse United, we got Super Card of Honor, and we're going to have WrestleMania Night 1. Of course, I have to add in Night 2 and Night 1 to go with the last two. But it's not about because we got 2 days of wrestling from WWE. It's about how they told the story and how they gave the production. That's what this really comes down to. When you look at Super Card of Honor versus Wrestleverse United, it is a better show because the production value was better. Not because the storytelling or the matches were just better. Because if you're going to compare the two matches of the two shows, Wrestleverse had a lot more better matches. And particularly what happened with Dante Martin. I found out what happened to Dante. I think he broke his ankle. That sucker, he cleanly broke his ankle once Penta did that flip and he landed clean on his ankle. It collapsed under him. He ended up like Sid Justice, breaking his ankle because he wanted to add something to his repertoire. That is what happened. Exactly to Dante Martin. Clean. That was horrid. So that takes a lot away from that match. It does take away from a lot. So when you look at Wrestleverse United, that didn't have something that severe, it brings down the wrestling quality because of that horrid accident. But the production value is better. That's the way it goes. Now, when I look at this match, well, look at the matches that are from Super Card of Honor and WrestleMania. It's not just because the production is easily top-notch, much more than Super Card of Honor, due to the fact it's not meant to be big. It's ROH. It's about, they did good production, taking away all the glamour, but they did a lot of emotional matches and gave a lot of emotion. Super Card of Honor had good matches, a lot of emotion, but due to the fact that Dante got hurt, and due to the fact that this is not one of the biggest shows they got, this is AEW using ROH, and it's all of his people. This is WWE being WWE. If this was AEW like Full Gear, or if it's Double or Nothing or All Out, that would be different. This was a small pay-per-view compared to a big pay-per-view where they didn't give a huge amount here, even though there was a lot of emotion, especially when it came to Jay having to hand over those titles to the Lucha Brothers and him not being able to get the TV title from Samoa Joe. It's not enough. Yes, we got a lot of emotion when it came to Claudio versus Eddie. That was my favorite match because I know Eddie Kingston is that damn good. And I want them to do something with him, but they didn't do anything with Dynamite with him. He never got a chance to go for the TNT title. He never went after the world title. He may work with Chris. He may work with CM Punk. But he never got anywhere. Now he went after Claudio. Didn't get anywhere. Now it doesn't mean that he can't still win the title from Claudio. But the thing is that you had Eddie Kingston on your main show, who is one of your most strongest faces. And you could have easily transitioned him to TNT title or the world title. He could be going up against MJF. And he would be a credible threat. But no. You never did anything with him when he was working with Chris. You never did anything with him when you went with CM Punk. You threw him down into ROH. And then people are going crazy for him. But in the end, he still gets nowhere. That story is a good one. But Usos versus Sammy and Kevin Owens is a stronger story. So, night one is better. And that's sad. But then, it's still good. And we still got another show to go for tomorrow. Don't know what's happening. I'm not going to give a prediction. That's just not me. I don't want to predict. Because I want to enjoy this as much as I want to review it. But that's just me. And I hope you enjoyed this WrestleMania 39 review. Please give me a comment below. And as I always say in my comments, a like if you will. Peace.